I'll give you an example. One day I was teaching a 9th grade science class, and a boy was in the class who was poking girls with pins, you know, and being generally not very good. So I said to him, I want you to stay after, I want to talk to you. And this is what I said to him word for word. I said, I have a problem. You're the only boy in this school I don't like. And there were 900 kids in the school. Mm-hmm. What can you do to help me with my problem? I own the whole problem. He was so astonished. No teacher had ever done that. They're always saying, you got a problem, go to detention. You got a problem, I'm going to call your mother. I mean, it's always this system of point your finger, call them out, do your job. No, I did have a problem. I wanted to like him. I wasn't making it up. It wasn't a pretty speech. I liked every kid. And if I didn't, then I was in big trouble. Jim Beardsley is, he was here, but I don't know where he went. There you are.
In the corner.
Okay. Anyway, Jim Beardsley, I was his teacher in 9th grade dummy math. I think that's true, it was low math. But I liked the children. Can you imagine a teacher liking all of the children? And not talking about them in the teacher's room and, oh, you should see what Johnny did today. So, and people who come here, you can't fool them. They will know whether you like them. You can never fool a person who's desperate. Do you agree with me, Teresa?
I agree.
And you just know it. And they just know it.
They're looking for the genuine.
Did I have favorites? I learned the first 2 years, never have favorites. That was very destructive. You know, if you study the behavior of the apostles, they all thought they were Jesus' favorites, or wanted to be their favorites. And he just did not play the game. He did not go along with it. So examine yourself every day. Don't be satisfied that you're well enough trained and now you're going to do it right. Examine yourself every day and in all situations. Now, Jim and I developed a trust relationship because I don't know why, we just did. He liked to do push-ups, and I made every kid who was naughty do 50 push-ups in the hall. And I was very fair. I didn't make the girls do them. I made the boys do them, and they didn't care. I mean, they weren't offended that the girls didn't have to do push-ups. It was kind of a status symbol. And not a single boy told any other boy that when I got them out in the hall, I asked them how many they could do. If they said 20, I added 10, but I figured they lied. And that they could do 30. So they did 30, not 50. Jim was one that did 50. Very rare. So anyway, one day I took him out in the hall and I said, you know, we've got a problem. We've got a boy in the class that is really paranoid that the boys are going to get him, and they're working him over and they're intimidating him, and he can't handle it. Is there anything you can do to help me with my problem? If you can't, just say no. It was not laying it on him. He said, Mitchell, what you're asking is very, very hard. I said, if you say no, I will never say anything, that no one will hear this. You know, no one at the office is going to get a report. This is not about that. This is what can we do to move this kid into a safer situation inside himself. He said, all right, I will do it. He took care of it. Finished. Trusting children. Know when they're lying. Know when your clients are lying. They lie. They're testing you. How many say that's probably true sometimes? Or they don't know how far to go. or they don't know what to admit and not admit, and they're trying to figure out what's safe to say. But really, really, really develop that trust in your spirit with that person. You know, Jerry Hooley, I call her Hooley, her name's Hool, is on staff at a church, and she runs the youth programs and is director of the youth ministries in a fairly large church. And we've known each other for a long time. And I called her up and I said, Hool, how are you doing? Well, she wasn't doing well. I sort of knew that she wasn't doing well. And I just know. I just know when they're not doing well, and I know, call. So I said, you have to call me next Sunday and give me a report. Guess what? She didn't do it. So on Tuesday, I called her. I think it was Tuesday after that. And I said, you didn't call in. It's not okay. Can you imagine? That takes a lot of extra effort. You know, and no one expects you to really do that. They don't expect you to do that.
I knew I was in trouble.
But we have a trust relationship, and it's deep. And a trust relationship with every client is really, really, really important, because maybe they've never been able to trust anybody. I mean, I'm talking about her, but she's not afraid of what I'm going to say, because she knows the kind of relationship we have. It's not a dark secret, it's the reality. What kind of a relationship are you going to have? You know, sometimes we're very short of counselors who work in the evening, or we're very short of counselors. Like Friday, we have hardly anybody counseling. So we have a long waiting list. I tell you, that waiting list is not acceptable. And I'd catch the office doing that all the time, and I'd find out, and I would just raise hell. Is that right?
That's right.
You are not going to have a waiting list if you use the office at least 15 hours a day, and somebody's in there. You're only having a waiting list because we want to do it when it's convenient, and it's an extra day that we could work and give our time. What if you had to give all of your time? Or what if there was a different story here? But people's lives are very, very serious condition. What do you say, Teresa? And it's getting more serious all the time.
We have some of the most severe cases we've ever seen. And a lot of our counselors are counseling online, and they're counseling on Zoom and on the phone now because of COVID. So our rooms are a little more empty, but we have over 30 counselors, and they are working. And
Right.
they're realizing the season we're in.
Right.
People are very traumatized. They're very afraid of the future and afraid of the present. They're stuck at home, many people, with their children. They've never had to parent like that before. They've never had to teach like that before. People are being required to do what they've never had to do before. And for some people, it's actually healing their families in some ways. It's just very hard. For others, they are up against the wall. It's traumatizing, it's hard. They're losing jobs, they're losing money, they're afraid of losing housing. We have a lot of homeless people coming in now for counseling, which I really think is a great privilege to get to work with. We have a lot of community resources we're connecting people with all the time and helping people find their way. But it's a serious, serious season.
Right. And it's important to know that you can do all things in Christ who strengthens you. How many say, I get this?
Yeah.
Like I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and wasn't able to go back to sleep. This is typical if I'm going to do something that God arranges that I have no strength, so I have to depend totally on Him. I mean, it's just typical. I don't get all fussed about it because it isn't going to do any good. It's the way it is. And I saw 5 clients today. And it's okay. It's important. So I think not being afraid to cover everyone who's calling and to take the time to do that and really pay attention. I usually sit on the side that way and I look at both at the same time, so do we wanna move it?
What, put it in front of you?
Well, I look at that.
Put it
Well,
on, put it on your left.
Here, I'll move this water. Because then I can see both at the same time.